Kinsey Walls.
Matt Walls.
Robin Walls.
Audrey Taylor.
My name is Brody Walls, and this is my speech number 4. So vaping is quickly becoming a serious issue with a lot of people starting to vape instead of traditionally smoke. The question I want to pose regarding this is vaping more dangerous than traditional smoking? First, I want to explain what vaping is in detail. Vaping is a highly known and popularized type of smoking, which is done through the use of electronic or e-cigarettes. E-cigarettes are battery-powered devices that use hot liquid to create a cloud of vapor when inhaled and puffed out. E-cigarettes first came to the U.S. in 2006, but were first invented by a Chinese pharmacist in 2003. Although e-cigs were introduced in the U.S. in 2006, it has gained most of its popularity in recent years. Most of this popularity has come through the youth, and according to the National Library of Medicine, in the United States, past 30-day vaping among high school students has risen from 1.5% in 2011 to 11.7% in 2017 to 20.8% in 2018, whereas 30-day prevalence rates of combustible cigarette use among high school students has decreased over the same time period, 18.7% in 2011, 9.7% in 2017, and 7.6% in 2018. Although the use of e-cigarettes has rapidly increased among the youth, it has also had a bit of increase among adults as well. According to the CDC, e-cigarette use among adults has been also increasing. It rose from 3.7% in 2020 to 4.5% in 2021. They also stated that only about 11% of American adults smoke cigarettes weekly, which is a record low number. This information shows how quickly vaping is rising in popularity and how it is slowly becoming an alternative to traditional cigarettes. There's no secret when looking at how vaping numbers have shot up and cigarette numbers have shot down. It's obvious that vaping is starting to become the new thing, while traditional cigarette smoking is starting to quickly become irrelevant. It's also no secret that both of these have health risk. It's just a question of which one is worse for you. The health risk of cigarettes are already well known, but what about the health risk of vaping? How bad is it actually, and is it worse than traditional smoking? First of all, most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is a highly addictive, harmful chemical that comes from tobacco plants. Cigarettes also contain nicotine, which is why both traditional cigarettes and e-cigarettes are both so highly addictive. But what else is in vapes that cause them to be so dangerous and cause so many health problems? Well, first, it's good to understand that vaping is very dangerous and it does cause a lot of major health problems. Vaping can create many different health problems, including asthma, lung problems, organ damage, and in some cases cancer. There are many other risk factors too, and the American Lung Association explains why vaping specifically causes these problems. They say that in 2016, the Surgeon General concluded that secondhand emissions contain nicotine ultrafine particles such as diethol, a chemical linked to serious lung disease, volatile organ compounds such as benzene, which is found in car exhaust, and heavy metals such as nickel, tin, and lead. This statement right here is shocking, and it reveals the cause behind many health problems that have to do with vaping. They include many heavy and toxic metals and very dangerous compounds, and that should not be breathed in by a human. Just imagine breathing in car exhaust from a motorcycle, and then think about how vapes have the same thing in them as that. These toxic things should not be consumed, but they are disguised with appealing flavoring, and that makes people seem to forget about them. Vape tends to come in many different flavors that appeal to the youth and people that love to consume sugary things. There are flavors such as cotton candy, gummy bears, strawberry, and many others that tend to hook consumers. This strategy works though, because while nicotine is highly addictive, the flavorings that the vapes have are a big reason why people, especially the youth, keep coming back for more. When thinking about smoking traditional cigarettes, they don't have any type of flavor or taste. They just taste like straight up tobacco. These cigarettes, on the other hand, have specific sugary flavorings that, aside from the nicotine, make them appealing. This is a major reason why vaping is so harmful and so dangerous to the youth, because it is so appealing to them. When talking about these vape flavorings, Dr. Michael Blaha from Johns Hopkins Medicine says, some of these additives found in e-liquid are dangerous, even deadly. For example, vitamin E acetate has been indicated in e-volley, which stands for e-cigarette or vaping product use associated lung injury. This is a potentially fatal syndrome associated with vaping, and was on the rise in 2019. Vitamin E acetate is okay to eat, but dangerous to inhale. This statement shows that some of these flavorings can cause potential health problems like lung injury and even death. Although not all of these flavorings contain additives, Vaha also goes on to explain that there's limited evidence that vape juice flavors themselves are dangerous to individual users, but there are unknowns. Research suggests that flavors, when combined with other vape juice ingredients and heated, can create new compounds that may be very harmful. So not only can this flavoring in the juice contain harmful additives, but it can also create an extremely harmful compound when combined with the other ingredients inside of the vape. These are things that are completely aside from nicotine, which is an already harmful enough substance in itself, but when paired with these other things, it creates an even bigger problem. Many will say that vaping is safer than smoking cigarettes, and it is true that e-cigarettes don't contain tar or carbon monoxide, which makes cigarettes so dangerous. But vaping is still extremely dangerous and is not safe in the slightest bit. When looking at the risk of cigarette smoking and vaping side by side, we see that, according to Medical News Today, the nicotine in e-cigarettes can slow and affect brain damage, and dangerous chemicals found inside of vape can cause major lung issues. Then pertaining to cigarette smoking, they say that damage to every organ in the body, more than 480,000 deaths a year in the United States, 90% of all lung cancer deaths, about 80% of deaths from chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, an increased risk of health conditions such as heart disease, and an increased risk of stroke and death. The risk of smoking cigarettes seems a lot worse now, but since vaping is a fairly new thing, there's a lot of research to still be done and discovered on it. Medical News Today also recorded the long-term effects of both smoking and vaping. They say that for the long-term effect of smoking, it reduces sperm count, increases the risk of pregnancy loss and congenital disabilities, increases the risk of cataracts, impairs immune system function, increases general inflammation, and can cause cancer in virtually every part of the body, including the lungs, kidney, and stomach. It can trigger asthma attacks, causes blockage in veins and arteries, and increases the risk of a stroke. The long-term effects of vaping are that it may damage the lungs, release free radicals which promote cancer development into the body, weaken the immune system, and delay the brain development in fetuses, children, and teenagers. Once again, there's not been enough in-depth research or studies on vaping because it just hasn't been around long enough. This doesn't mean that vaping will come to be more dangerous than cigarette smoking, but it definitely will bring light to things that aren't fully known yet. In conclusion, the debate over vaping versus traditional smoking remains complex, with both options having significant health risks. Traditional cigarettes with a long history of research can cause extensive harm, contributing to diseases such as lung cancer, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, and cardiovascular issues. These effects are mainly due to substances like tar and carbon monoxide, which are notably absent in e-cigarettes. However, vaping is not without its own risk. Research has linked it to lung injuries, potential cardiovascular strain, and developmental issues due to high nicotine concentrations, especially concerning for the youth. The allure of flavors and vaping products attracts younger populations, leading to a rise in nicotine addiction and promoting concerns according to the long-term health effects and implications of vaping for adolescents and adults alike. As they continue to study vaping's effects over time, a precautionary approach remains essential. Public health policies, education on the risk, and continued research into vaping are necessary to fully assess its safety profile. Individuals considering vaping or smoking should weigh the potential health impacts and make informed decisions based on current evidence. In the end, while both smoking and vaping carry health risks, it is crucial to recognize that abstaining from both practices offers the best protection against preventable health issues.